First was Ghidorah, next was the goddess herself Mothra, now comes the bionic menace himself, or itself rather. But it is not alone on this little adventure. I'm Demetrius, and welcome to the Brumakian podcast. This is an episodic review series where I can review anything, but not everything. That includes monster movies, both big and small, anime, and video games. This week is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, 93 edition. Note that I didn't say the other title. You'll find out why in a short while. I want to correct myself from episode 25 when I said that the remake of King Kong vs. Godzilla was an idea before they came to the actual movie that we got. The idea came here, so I'll repeat myself if you don't mind. But first, this would be the 5th Godzilla film in the Heisei era, continuity-wise anyway, and it was here that Toho decided to end the series because they didn't want to be in competition with an American production at the time, to which I will talk about in future episodes. Ooh, the foreshadow. Anyhow, this film was also to be dedicated to Ishiro Honda. The reason being is that Honda, the man who directed the original Godzilla film and directed most of the Godzilla films in the Showa era, passed away on February 28, 1993. So this film will be in honor of the man's legacy. Now, Toho initially wanted to remake King Kong vs. Godzilla from 1962, one of the most successful and profitable films in the franchise. The problem was Universal Studios. They held the King Kong property, and they still kind of do today, since RKO went out of business. So when the studio asked for the money in exchange for lending the 8th wonder of the world, Toho didn't have the money, so the deal fell through. But Toho wasn't going to give up yet because they were going to use Mechagodzilla, a doppelganger of Kong that made his first appearance in the film King Kong Escapes. But due to the recent returns of Ghidorah in Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah and Mothra in Godzilla vs. Mothra, the studio felt like it was time for another name, a famous name rather, to return. Enter Mechagodzilla. But it wasn't just going to be the mech that was returning, but Rodan and Minera rechristened as Baby Godzilla. The end result was Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, 93 edition, released in Japan on December 11, 1993. Now, about that name. When this film came to the West via VHS, remember those, thanks to Columbia TriStar Home Entertainment on August 3, 1999, it had the unusual title of Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. Despite the fact that technically, there is already a Mechagodzilla 2 back in 1975. So that's why I'm not calling it that here, I'm calling it 93 edition. Anyhow, with that out of the way, let's get that plot synopsis. Omega?
The United Nations assembles the ultimate weapon to defeat Godzilla, while scientists discover a fresh pteranodon egg on a remote Japanese island. Or, they think it is a pteranodon egg. For it holds something far more important, a child version of Godzilla.
After 4 movies, there is finally some well-deserved character development, not just on the monster side, but on the human side as well. Blending the monster action with the human drama is not easy, but I feel like it is executed well here. Though, I do have some problems with it. While most of the characters are great, while some I wish they never opened their mouths to begin with, I feel as though while the interaction between the infant prince and one of the female leads is good and heartwarming, I feel like it would have made much more sense if Mickey was the one to have interacted with Junior. And while Mickey does get some character development, finally, it would have had a much bigger impact if she was the one who saw the child hatch. Better yet, if she was on the island where the egg was found. While I'm on the subject of that infant prince of monsters, my god does he look better than Manera. The cuteness factor here actually works well in live action. Now, imagine if this was animated. Now then, let's talk about the king himself. Godzilla finally has some character development. It's not much, but at least it's progress. Also, what the hell happened to him? 2 films ago, he looked like a bricked up Chad. Now he looks a bit more extra thick. He needs to cut back on the junk food. Speaking of things that need to cut back on junk food, why does Mechagodzilla look like the Doughboy? I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Super Mechagodzilla, but come on, look at the concept art. Hell, look at the goddamn poster on the screen. It looks more badass. Also, Rodan is in this film, and that's all I have to say about him. Despite the upgrades, he is a real disappointment. His model didn't help much either. Speaking of, the effects are mostly good despite the fact I can clearly see the wiring. The sound design is top notch. I'm surprised how good it was. And it does help with the fight scenes in the film. The music also helped with it. Favorite tracks, the opening titles, and when the girls are singing to the infant. Overall, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 93 edition is a good movie. Not great by any means, but still enjoyable. If the film had fixed some of the issues that I had with the story and the second act didn't feel like a massive dip, I would like it even more. But as it stands, I think this is a good entry all around. Now, the only thing that the king and prince have to do is to live in peace without someone trying to kill them. But even that doesn't last long, as we have another monster to deal with. And it's another doppelganger? Huh. Well, until then, thank you all for watching/listening. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more of the Brumakian podcast. This has been Demetrius signing off, and hail to the king and prince.